Hi there, and happy Friday to you all. I hope you're having a great day. I am going to start a project today that you can actually do along with me if you want to. This is late August, and I decided that I wanted to have a Halloween quilt to put out the end of September. This year with my Halloween decorations, and so I've picked out a quickie little pattern that I think will stitch up pretty fast, and it's very easy. This is a free pattern called Magic Boxes from Jordan Fabrics. You can go to their website, click on the free patterns download tab, find Magic Boxes and print it off. It has everything here that you're going to need to know to make this cute little pattern. And this is actually almost a twin size, so I'm going to shorten mine. I want it just a throw to put over the back of my sofa for the Halloween season, so I'm going to shorten mine. Mine won't need as many blocks, but you can make yours however big size you want. And so all you're going to need are some jelly roll strips and an accent fabric, and I'll pick something out for the borders later, but you will need border fabric. And you'll need your rotary cutter and your ruler, and you're going to need a strip tube ruler from Cozy Quilt Designs. I got mine, let's see, I bet you can't even see it. Probably not very good. Trying to figure out how you can see this. There, you can see it a little better. I got mine from Amazon. I think it was $7 or $8, and I have Amazon Prime, so I got free shipping. So it came in a couple of days, and it's the very same ruler, works just perfect. So I am going to get started here, and it's going to go real fast because my jelly roll strips are already cut. You know, when they come on the roll, they're already cut, and they are 2.5 inches. This is my accent fabric, which is a black, and it does have, it's a batik, and it does have kind of a little design in it, sort of green, a funny color of green, so it kind of reminded me of the witch's brew. And I am kind of going backwards here because everywhere on this picture where it is white, that's where my black's going to be. So I'm just sort of reversing the color scheme. And since these are already cut, all I have to do is cut my strips. You're going to cut 2-inch strips from your accent fabric. And all I have to do is cut my 2-inch strips, and just like that, I'm ready to start sewing. So I'm going to do that and get going with sewing my strips together. And I'm going to press all my strip seams to the left. All to the left. So that's how you're going to, and it's going to tell you that in the pattern, so that's how you're going to press your strips when you get them done. So let's get going. Grab your pattern, grab your fabric and your rulers, and make a quilt with me today. The first thing I've got to do before I can get started sewing is to separate out all the jelly roll strips that I don't think are going to have enough contrast with my accent fabric. So I have taken away almost all the jelly roll strips that have a dark background. I love this one with the candy on it, but I just don't think it's going to work. But maybe I can put these together into some sort of cute little strip to put down the back of the quilt. It just will depend on what I use for the backing. And I wanted to tell you that some of the jelly roll strips that I'm using, see, this one might work. I had this one separated out, but I think it'll work. So there you can see, you have to have enough contrast so that it looks okay. The jelly roll fabrics, I'm using some that I had left over from another project by Patrick Lose, and I got those a couple years ago, but you still might be able to get them, and I don't remember the name of the collection, but we can try to find that. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description box. The other jelly roll set is called Holiday Essentials Halloween by Stacy Sue, and I got this jelly roll I got from Jordan Fabrics. And no, they don't sponsor me or give me anything. I just happen to have purchased the jelly roll from them. And this batik background fabric you can get at most any quilt shop. And I don't know the name or number of it, but any dark fabric, even a solid black, would work just fine. And I just got this one locally. I'll put a link in the description box for where I got this and what it is. So, okay, I'm going to cut this into 2-inch strips and start putting my strip sets together. All my strip sets done, and I pressed all the seams one way, so they all look pretty good and cute, just a variety. And the Halloween, some of the Halloween fabric I used is called Halloween Holiday Essentials by Stacy Sue for Moda, and some of the other fabrics are by Patrick Lose, and I've had some of these for a while, and I just combined the two jelly rolls with my black batik. So now that I have all these strip sets done, the next thing is to sew them in pairs into a tube. So this is the first one, and I've stitched it at 1/4 of an inch on both sides, and I stitched the same direction on both sides. And the trick here is to get one side with the seam allowances pressed this way and the other side this way, so that they are kind of opposing directions. So now what we're going to do with our tube, here's my tube, and we're going to use a strip tube ruler. This is by Cozy Quilt Designs, and you're going to put the ruler on the 7-inch mark down here, on the 7-inch mark, and it's going to be on the stitching line, not the raw edge. And you're going to cut triangles out of all your tubes. You're going to sew all your strip sets into tubes, and from each tube you should get 6 or 7, depending on the length of your tubes, 6 or 7 triangle cuts. So here's one, and I'm just going to kind of gently finger press this, and when I press it, I'm going to press it this way, not this way, because this way is bias and this way is the straight of grain. So there's one, and then you'll just turn your tube, or your ruler. You'll turn your strip tube ruler and line up the 7 inches on the stitching line. And if it doesn't work, you might have to cut a fresh line. Sometimes you'll have to cut a fresh line anyway, and I'll show you why, because right here we didn't quite make an exact triangle, so I'll have to scoot down a little ways and cut again. And I'll try to be conservative, but you have to be sure that on this lower corner you're not going to chop off the point of your triangle. So there we go. So we'll just keep, after we get all of our strip sets sewn into tubes, and each one will be a little different because you're flipping your ruler. So hopefully we'll get 6 or 7 of these out of each tube, and that is going to be our next order of business to make our little Halloween quilt, is sewing our strip sets into tubes and using the strip tube ruler. I don't think any other ruler will work. You might be able to find somewhere what the dimensions are, but some triangle rulers are a different degree, 90 or 60 or whatever they would be. And this little ruler I got from Amazon. It came in 2 days, and I believe it was $7 or something, and I have Prime, so it was free shipping. And so I'm going to go ahead and stitch together all the rest of my strip sets into tubes and cut all my triangles, and then we'll be able to start setting the quilt out to begin sewing our blocks together and getting our quilt on its way to being finished. I have all my blocks done, and I have stacked my strips together. So these are all the same, these are all the same, and these are all the same. So now I'm going to start laying my quilt out, and I'm going to try not to have any colors touching each other, and I'm going to just start laying it out so that I'm going to get that secondary pattern of the black diamonds throughout the quilt. And I'm going to try to put a different block next to each one. Get my pattern so I can kind of keep an eye on where I'm at. So I'll start with one of these, and then let's take one from this stack, and we'll put the, let's see, yeah, let's put that stripe in the middle there. And the whole plan is to get the black diamonds to show up. And I'm going to put these across 9 blocks across. You can kind of see my black squares coming in. This pattern is called Magic Boxes, but I'll have to think of something different to name it, since it's a Halloween quilt. So there's 2 and 2, so I'll just go ahead and do 9 blocks across and as many blocks down as my quilt will handle, and be careful the whole time to make sure that I have a different color next to everything. And now you're going to see a big X will happen here in the middle, and I'll have another diamond down here with my black. This is going to be such a cute quilt. And if I don't like colors that are too close together, all I have to do is swap it around a little bit and just rotate, or I can even put a different block in there. If I want to, I can put a whole different block in. That way when I get my quilt all laid out, I can make sure it's balanced. And then what I'll do is I'll just sew each row together, and I'll press the seams in opposite directions on each row, and then I'll sew the rows together. And then my quilt will be ready for borders. And here we are. My quilt is all finished. My quilt top. I've got it laid on my table, and I have it partially turned over up here so you can see the back a little bit. And it finished up 60 something by almost 70 inches. So it's a good size throw. I had 1 block left over, and so I cut it in half and made my quilt label, and I will put a lining on this and turn it right side out, and put this on the back of the quilt down in the lower right hand corner before I quilt it. I'll put it on the quilt back before I quilt it. And I did put 2 borders. I put this skinny little border. I think it's about 5/8 of an inch from this orange batik. And then I had just enough of the black that I used in my quilt top to cut the same width for an outside border here. So I have the little orange border and then the black, and then I'll probably bind it again in this. I have enough of this left over for the binding. And also on the back, you know, when you have lots of patchwork pieces left over from a quilt, I have pieced a very long sort of ladder looking piece of patchwork that I'm going to put on the back of the quilt, and it will go down the left of center on the back. And the backing that I have ordered is in orange with white, and it's candy canes, candy corn, I'm sorry, candy corn candy all over it. So it's going to be really a cute back, and this will look just fabulous going down the back of the quilt. And so I used up all my scraps. I don't have hardly any leftover fabric from this project. And I am going to quilt it on my 770 Bernina, and I will use edge-to-edge quilting. And I have a really fun spiderweb design that I'm going to quilt on it, and I will use orange thread in my bobbin and maybe gray, or I might use orange thread on top. I'll audition a few spools of thread and see what color I think works the best. I don't think black, but some other color. And I will make a quick little short separate video of the quilting. So watch for that on my channel. And thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you made this little quilt along with me. It was a fast, easy project and lots of fun. And I hope that you enjoy all your sewing projects. And I wish you the most happiest day ever. Thanks again.